You're not stuck because you're lazy or unmotivated. You just haven't learned how to move past the fear and the shame that's keeping you where you are. In this video, I'm going to teach you the most important life skill that you can learn so that you can bridge the gap between who you are now and who it is that you desire to become next year. And that skill is self-compassion. And in this video, I'm going to do the number one thing that no one has done for you, which is teach you the exact process on how to extend your self-compassion. You need to understand how important this is because the number one reason why you're not already hurt is because you keep quitting on yourself. And the reason why you keep quitting is because you treat yourself like shit when things get hard and don't go your way. You tell yourself things like, I should have known better, I should have done better. You force yourself to push past your feelings. I should just get over this. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I need to just move on. You judge every single decision you make and every single outcome you have in your life. And this is a problem because what you're teaching your brain is that you are not safe with you. This is why whenever you try to create new habits, whenever you try to go for a goal, your brain fights you. You experience a lot of resistance. This happens because in the back of your brain's mind, it knows if we fail at this, we are going to be in deep emotional pain. And the human brain is hardwired to avoid pain as part of its survival, whether it's emotional pain or physical pain. So yeah, it's super important that if you want to become her this year, that you learn how to extend self-compassion. The practice of this is going to rewire your brain so that it trusts you again. So that it knows we can go after whatever goal it is that we want. We can become whoever it is that we want, because even if in the process we fail or we make mistakes or we don't get it right or it takes longer than we anticipated it was going to take, we're going to be okay. Right now, your brain doesn't know it's going to be okay because what you've taught it is that when things don't go the way you imagined, when you fail, it's not okay. So I'm going to teach you the self-compassion practice that I give to the women that I work with on their reinvention journey. And you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen or your journal. And I'm going to have you start with creating a brain dump of everything that you think has gone wrong this past year, or every way you think you failed this past year, everything that you didn't do, that you should have done, and that you think should have gone differently. So some examples of this could be, I failed at my health and fitness routine, or I didn't speak up for myself in a meeting, or I procrastinated on my goals and now I'm behind. I didn't make time for my friends and I feel disconnected. And then I want you to just pick one of these situations. It really does not matter which one. You can literally run your finger down the page and whichever one it lands on, pick that one, because this is just about you learning how to do this practice. The one I'm going to pick for the purpose of giving you an example is I procrastinated on my goals and now I feel like I'm behind everyone else. Once you have that scenario written down, I want you to write down every thought that you have about this situation, about this circumstance, about this event that happened. So the examples that I'm going to read off are just like I kept telling myself I'll start tomorrow, and then tomorrow became next week, and now it's the end of the year and I didn't get what it is that I wanted to get done. I spent so much time scrolling on social media and comparing myself. I avoided even looking at my to-do list because it felt too overwhelming. I feel ashamed because it's like, what do I even have to show for myself this year? It feels like everyone else is so much further ahead and I'm stuck in the same place. And then this is where the self-compassion piece of it will come in. I want you to use everything that you wrote down to ask yourself this question. Based on everything that I wrote down, why does it make sense that my brain is offering me this perspective, this way of looking at it? What is it trying to protect me from feeling or experiencing with these thoughts that it's giving me, with this perspective that it's giving me? And the example that again I'm going to give you is this one. It makes sense that my brain focused on how far behind I am because it was trying to protect me from the fear of failing. If I didn't start, I wouldn't have to face the possibility that I may not succeed. My brain thought it was keeping me safe. Once you've answered that question, the next question that I want you to answer is this one. Based on who I was then when the event happened, based on what I knew then when the event happened, and based off of what I didn't know then when the event happened, why does it make sense that this was the outcome? Why does it make sense that this is what happened? So keeping on with this example, you might find something like, Based on who I was then, I didn't have the tools to handle the fear and the self-doubt that came up when I thought about my goals. I was doing the best I could with what I knew, and procrastinating was my way of trying to cope with the overwhelm. It makes sense because I've been juggling so much in my life, and I didn't realize how drained I truly was. Once that comes out to the light, what's happening here is that we are shifting the way that your brain is relating to what happened. We are bringing understanding, which is what compassion is. Compassion is looking at something and seeing and relaying to yourself, I make sense. What I'm thinking makes sense. What I'm feeling makes sense. What I did makes sense. What I do makes sense. With that new perspective shift, I want you to then complete this sentence. It makes sense that, and you're going to insert the event that happened, because, and then insert all the reasons why it makes sense. And then I want you to say that to yourself. It makes sense that I procrastinated on my goals because I didn't know how to break them into smaller, more manageable steps. I was never taught how to handle failure. My brain was just trying to protect me from what it thought it was going to feel. And I was never taught how to feel that and be okay. There was a part of me that thought I needed to have everything figured out because that is what society teaches us. Notice that when we start to look at our life, we start to look at the situation from this lens of I make sense. What I'm thinking makes sense. What I'm feeling makes sense. What I did makes sense. This is what self-compassion is. It starts to change the way that we're relating to ourselves. From this space, we create the opportunity for curiosity, the opportunity to learn lessons, to learn skills that we can then apply later. So I really want you through this practice to notice what is actually true now. What is true now is that there were things I didn't know then. What is true is that I hadn't solved for the obstacles along the way, like me being drained. What is true is that society makes it seem like we have to have it all figured out. So it makes sense that I wanted to at that time. Self-compassion is just our ability to see that who we are and what we did and what we do makes sense. From this place, we can build. From this place, we can choose again. From this place, we can learn. And this is what is going to create a situation where you're able to take the actions that are in alignment with who it is that you want to become. This is how you become her. You will not become her if you beat yourself up, if you don't know how to treat yourself kindly, because on the way to becoming her, you are going to mess it up a lot. On the way to becoming someone you've never been, you're going to have to do things you've never done before, which means you're going to suck at it. And if you cannot, in that process, extend your self-compassion, you're going to spiral out in shame and in guilt and in frustration and in disappointment. And that is going to keep you from moving forward, which means you will never become her. If you want to work with me to continue to learn these skills so that you can reinvent yourself in a year, you can apply to work with me one-on-one. Below, I'm placing a link. And in the meantime, watch the previous video that I filmed that's part of a series that I'm creating on how to reinvent yourself, because I tell you exactly how to start shifting your identity using my evidence-based practice. My name is Clarissa, and I help women reinvent themselves through shadow work, sacred feminine ceremony, and creating a new self-concept.